welcome back to the shed. What we're going to be doing today is we are going to carry out a fix for this. As you can see, we've got the light saying safety system and an airbag light. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be fixing this fault. Okay, so essentially the problem is caused by the occupancy sensor in the passenger seat. What happens is there's a mat inside that basically can detect when somebody's sat in the seat and allows the airbag to be turned on and off automatically, depending upon whether there's someone sat there. Over time, the mat inside the seat degrades, there's a problem with the resistance, and it causes the light to come on. There is a fairly simple fix, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to run you through the steps involved. Okay, what we're going to do is we are going to be fitting this module onto the connector that sits underneath the passenger seat, and what this does is basically mimics the signal that the mat in the seat sends to the car. These are very, very cheap. I think I paid about £6 or £7 for it. As you can see, all it is a simple connector, and that little box connected by 2 wires you can just make out, and the little box basically has some resistance inside. Yeah, and as I said, it mimics the occupancy mat in the seat and turns off the light on the dash once we've reset it using a little bit of software, which I'll come on to very shortly. The only issue with this is this mimicking the mat makes the mat permanently think that there's somebody sitting in the seat, or makes the car permanently think that there's somebody sitting in the seat. So no matter what happens, if you're involved in an accident that requires the airbags to deploy, the airbag in the passenger side will deploy regardless of whether there's anybody in the seat or not. So that's worth bearing in mind. However, I mean, these cars are getting on a bit now. I'm pretty sure most people would rather just have the light off than have to worry about that. Okay, the first thing we need to do is to remove all 4 bolts that are underneath the seat. Now, obviously, because these are electric seats, we need the battery to be connected for this stage in order for us to be able to slide it back, because the bolts at the front of the seat are underneath here, and the ones at the back will be covered again once we move the seat back. So we need to be able to move the seat backwards and forwards in order to carry out this step. Obviously, all we need to do is select the correct function on here, and simply move the joystick to move the seat back like so. Now, the bolts themselves hide underneath this plastic trim, so what we're going to do next is we're going to take off these plastic trims, that side and that side. Okay, to get the trim off is fairly straightforward. We just need to pop it off effectively, like so, just like that, and the same the other side. Just like that. Now with the plastic trims removed, we can see the Torx bolt, that side, and the other one is just there, you can see. So what we'll do is we'll whip those 2 out, and then we can move on to the back ones. These are T50 bolts, and they will be very, very tight. Oh, Ladybird decided to join me. First one out. Second one out. Okay, in the back we've got one bolt just there and the other one just there. We're going to remove both of those, and then that should allow us to move the seat to give us access to the underneath. One and two. Okay, the next thing we need to do is disconnect the battery by removing this terminal down here. So that's what I'm going to do next. Once that's disconnected, we need to leave the car approximately 30 minutes just to ensure that any residual current in any capacitors in the car is completely discharged before we go and disconnect the airbags, just to be on the safe side. Disconnected. Okay, time for a cup of tea while I wait. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to tilt the seat back and have a look at the underside connectors. Need to be quite careful because it is a fairly heavy seat, being as it's got lots and lots of electric motors inside. However, it's manageable. Okay, so we've got the seat tilted back. What we need to be careful of is this cable here, which is the main cable that goes into the seat. This is the one that carries all the power for all the motors and all the signals, etc., etc. What we're actually looking at for this is this little module just here. This is the airbag module. This connector here is the one that we are going to disconnect. Now, as you can see, that connector is pretty much identical, with the exception of the colour obviously, pretty much identical to the one on the new replacement module. So what we're going to do, shift that out of the way, connect the new module in just like that, and that's that part of the job done. Okay, once you've fitted the little module, simply lower the seat back down. What we're going to do next is reconnect the battery and then set about resetting the light on the dash. Battery reconnected. Okay, for this next step, what we're going to do is we're going to connect my phone to the car using the Carly app. In order to use the Carly app, you need one of these OBD2 units. Basically, it plugs into the OBD connector, which is just behind that little door there. Connect this. Once it's connected, we'll then fire up the Wi-Fi on the phone as the iPhone connects to this module using Wi-Fi, and then we'll fire up the app. Okay, the module is now connected to the car. All we've got to do now is connect the phone to the module using Wi-Fi. So as you can see, my iPhone is now connected to the Carly adapter. Next, what we do, ease out of that and open the Carly app. Okay, what we're going to do is select the car that we're going to connect to. Now, obviously, this is a 7 Series E65. It is a diesel model and it is a 2005. Okay, once we've put all those details in, what we need to do next is put the key in. As you can see, we've still got the error on the dashboard. Put a key in, turn the ignition on, but don't start the car. So turn the ignition on without your foot on the brake and that'll turn the ignition on. What we're going to do next is click connect. It does take a few moments to set it up. Okay, so connection is successfully established. Go to the cockpit. Okay, so we'll click go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to diagnostics, continue to diagnostics, and then click start to diagnose. Let it diagnose all the faults, and it should come back with a airbag fault amongst other things that may be wrong with the car. Okay, so finally it's finally finished with its diagnostic check, and this is the screen. Now all we need to do is click OK, and what it does is it lists everything in red when there's a fault. So all we need to do is scroll through until we find the correct one that we're looking for. What I'll do, I'll select all faults and I'll start clearing. And eventually it'll say clearing is finished. Click OK. And we can go back to diagnostic. Now, if we look, we can see that the airbag light has gone off. So what I'll do, I'll switch off the ignition, remove the key. And then just to confirm, I'll put the key back in. We get the airbag light. I will start the engine. And the airbag light's gone off, as you can see. So that's a fix, and I'm happy with that. As you can see, I have a dynamic drive failure. That's something I'm aiming to fix in a future video, so please subscribe if you want to see how I investigate that. At the moment I have absolutely no idea what it may be, but I suspect it's probably a sensor. Right, all we have to do now is bolt back down the seat, and we can call that a fix. Thanks very much for tuning in, guys. If you like this video, then please give the video a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, then by all means give it a thumbs down. But if you want to see more things that I managed to fix on this car, on motorcycles, all those kind of things, consider subscribing for future videos. Thanks very much, guys. Bye bye.